Section 23 of the Letters of Jane Austen. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. Letter 52. Godmersham Park, Saturday, November 6th. My dearest Cassandra, having half an hour before breakfast, very snug in my own room, lovely morning, excellent fire, fancy me! I will give you some account of the last 2 days. And yet what is there to be told? I shall get foolishly minute unless I cut the matter short. We met only the Bretons at Chilham Castle, besides a Mr. and Mrs. Osborne and a Miss Lee staying in the house, and were only 14 altogether. My brother and Fanny thought it the pleasantest party they had ever known there, and I was very well entertained by bits and scraps. I had long wanted to see Dr. Breton, and his wife amuses me very much with her affected refinement and elegance. Miss Lee I found very conversable. She admires Crabbe as she ought. She is at an age of reason, 10 years older than myself at least. She was at the famous ball at Chilham Castle, so of course you remember her. By the by, as I must leave off being young, I find many douceurs in being a sort of chaperon, for I am put on the sofa near the fire, and can drink as much wine as I like. We had music in the evening. Fanny and Mrs. Wildman played, and Mr. James Wildman sat close by and listened, or pretended to listen. Yesterday was a day of dissipation all through. First came Sir Brooke to dissipate us before breakfast, then there was a call from Mr. Shearer, then a regular morning visit from Lady Honeywood, in her way home from Eastwell, then Sir Brooke and Edward set off, then we dined, 5 in number, at 4:30, then we had coffee, and at 6 Miss Clews, Fanny, and I drove away. We had a beautiful night for our frisks. We were earlier than we need have been, but after a time Lady B. and her 2 companions appeared. We had kept places for them, and there we sat, all 6 in a row under a side wall, I between Lucy Foote and Miss Clews. Lady B. was much what I expected. I could not determine whether she was rather handsome or very plain. I liked her for being in a hurry to have the concert over and get away, and for getting away at last with a great deal of decision and promptness, not waiting to compliment and dawdle and fuss about seeing dear Fanny, who was half the evening in another part of the room with her friends the Plumtrees. I am growing too minute, so I will go to breakfast. When the concert was over, Mrs. Harrison and I found each other out, and had a very comfortable little complimentary friendly chat. She is a sweet woman, still quite a sweet woman in herself, and so like her sister. I could almost have thought I was speaking to Mrs. Lefroy. She introduced me to her daughter, whom I think pretty, but most dutifully inferior to la mère Boutet. The Faggs and the Hammonds were there, William Hammond the only young man of renown. Miss looked very handsome, but I prefer her little smiling, flirting sister Julia. I was just introduced at last to Mary Plumtree, but I should hardly know her again. She was delighted with me, however, good enthusiastic soul, and Lady B. found me handsomer than she expected, so you see I am not so very bad as you might think for. It was 12 before we reached home. We were all dog-tired, but pretty well to day. Mrs. Clews says she has not caught cold, and Fanny's does not seem worse. I was so tired that I began to wonder how I should get through the ball next Thursday, but there will be so much more variety then in walking about, and probably so much less heat, that perhaps I may not feel it more. My china crape is still kept for the ball. Enough of the concert. I had a letter from Mary yesterday. They travelled down to Cheltenham last Monday very safely, and are certainly to be there a month. Bath is still Bath. The H. Bridges must quit them early next week, and Louisa seems not quite to despair of their all moving together, but to those who see at a distance there appears no chance of it. Dr. Parry does not want to keep Lady B. at Bath when she can once move. That is lucky. You will see poor Mr. Evelyn's death. Since I wrote last, my second edition has stared me in the face. Mary tells me that Eliza means to buy it. I wish she may. It can hardly depend upon any more Fifield estates. I cannot help hoping that many will feel themselves obliged to buy it. I shall not mind imagining it a disagreeable duty to them, so as they do it. Mary heard before she left home that it was very much admired at Cheltenham, and that it was given to Miss Hamilton. It is pleasant to have such a respectable writer named. I cannot tire you, I am sure, on this subject, or I would apologize. What weather, and what news! We have enough to do to admire them both. I hope you derive your full share of enjoyment from each. I have extended my lights and increased my acquaintance a good deal within these 2 days. Lady Honeywood, you know. I did not sit near enough to be a perfect judge, but I thought her extremely pretty, and her manners have all the recommendations of ease and good humor and unaffectedness, and going about with 4 horses and nicely dressed herself, she is altogether a perfect sort of woman. Oh, and I saw Mr. Gipps last night, the useful Mr. Gipps, whose attentions came in as acceptably to us in handing us to the carriage, for want of a better man, as they did to Emma Plumptree. I thought him rather a good-looking little man. I long for your letter to-morrow, particularly that I may know my fate as to London. My first wish is that Henry should really choose what he likes best. I shall certainly not be sorry if he does not want me. Morning church to-morrow. I shall come back with impatient feelings. The Sherers are gone, but the Pagets are not come. We shall therefore have Mr. S. again. Mr. Paget acts like an unsteady man. Dr. Hant, however, gives him a very good character. What is wrong is to be imputed to the lady. I dare say the house likes female government. I have a nice long black and red letter from Charles, but not communicating much that I did not know. There is some chance of a good ball next week, as far as females go. Lady Bridges may perhaps be there with some Natchballs. Mrs. Harrison, perhaps, with Miss Oxenden and the Miss Papillons, and if Mrs. Harrison, then Lady Fagg will come. The shades of evening are descending, and I resume my interesting narrative. Sir Brooke and my brother came back about 4, and Sir Brooke almost immediately set forward again to Goodnestone. We are to have Edward B. to-morrow, to pay us another Sunday's visit, the last for more reasons than one. They all come home on the same day that we go. The Deeds do not come till Tuesday. Sophia is to be the comer. She is a disputable beauty that I much want to see. Lady Elizabeth Hatton and Anna Maria called here this morning. Yes, they called, but I do not think I can say anything more about them. They came, and they sat, and they went. Sunday. Dearest Henry, what a turn he has for being ill, and what a thing bile is! This attack has probably been brought on in part by his previous confinement and anxiety. But however it came, I hope it is going fast, and that you will be able to send a very good account of him on Tuesday. As I hear on Wednesday, of course I shall not expect to hear again on Friday. Perhaps a letter to Wrotham would not have an ill effect. We are to be off on Saturday before the post comes in, as Edward takes his own horses all the way. He talks of 9 o'clock. We shall bait at Lenham. Excellent sweetness of you to send me such a nice long letter. It made its appearance, with one from my mother, soon after I and my impatient feelings walked in. How glad I am that I did what I did! I was only afraid that you might think the offer superfluous, but you have set my heart at ease. Tell Henry that I will stay with him, let it be ever so disagreeable to him. Oh dear me! I have not time on paper for half that I want to say. There have been 2 letters from Oxford, one from George yesterday. They got there very safely, Edward 2 hours behind the coach, having lost his way in leaving London. George writes cheerfully and quietly, hopes to have Utterson's rooms soon, went to lecture on Wednesday, states some of his expenses, and concludes with saying, "I am afraid I shall be poor." I am glad he thinks about it so soon. I believe there is no private tutor chosen yet, but my brother is to hear from Edward on the subject shortly. You and Mrs. H. and Catherine and Alethea going about together in Henry's carriage, seeing sights! I am not used to the idea of it yet. All that you are to see of Streatham seen already. Your Streatham and my Bookham may go hang. The prospect of being taken down to Chawton by Henry perfects the plan to me. I was in hopes of your seeing some illuminations, and you have seen them. I thought you would come, and you did come. I am sorry he is not to come from the Baltic sooner. Poor Mary! My brother has a letter from Louisa to day of an unwelcome nature. They are to spend the winter at Bath. It was just decided on. Dr. Parry wished it, not from thinking the water necessary to Lady B., but that he might be better able to judge how far his treatment of her, which is totally different from anything she had been used to, is right, and I suppose he will not mind having a few more of her ladyship's guineas. His system is a lowering one. He took 12 ounces of blood from her when the gout appeared, and forbids wine, etc. Hitherto the plan agrees with her. She is very well satisfied to stay, but it is a sore disappointment to Louisa and Fanny. The H. Bridges leave them on Tuesday, and they mean to move into a smaller house. You may guess how Edward feels. There can be no doubt of his going to Bath now. I should not wonder if he brought Fanny Cage back with him. You shall hear from me once more, some day or other. Yours very affectionately, J. A. We do not like Mr. Hampson's scheme. Letter 53. Henrietta Street, Wednesday, March 2nd, 1814. We had altogether a very good journey, and everything at Cobham was comfortable. I could not pay Mr. Harrington. That was the only alas of the business. I shall therefore return his bill, and my mother's £2, that you may try your luck. We did not begin reading till Bentley Green. Henry's approbation is hitherto even equal to my wishes. He says it is different from the other two, but does not appear to think it at all inferior. He has only married Mrs. R. I am afraid he has gone through the most entertaining part. He took to Lady B. and Mrs. N. most kindly, and gives great praise to the drawing of the characters. He understands them all, likes Fanny, and, I think, foresees how it will all be. I finished the heroine last night, and was very much amused by it. I wonder James did not like it better. It diverted me exceedingly. We went to bed at 10. I was very tired, but slept to a miracle, and am lovely to day, and at present Henry seems to have no complaint. We left Cobham at 8:30, stopped to bait and breakfast at Kingston, and were in this house considerably before 2. Nice, smiling Mr. Barlow met us at the door, and in reply to inquiries after news, said that peace was generally expected. I have taken possession of my bedroom, unpacked my bandbox, sent Miss P.'s 2 letters to the twopenny post, have been visited by Madame B., and am now writing by myself at the new table in the front room. It is snowing. We had some snowstorms yesterday, and a smart frost at night, which gave us a hard road from Cobham to Kingston; but as it was then getting dirty and heavy, Henry had a pair of leaders put on to the bottom of Sloane Street. His own horses, therefore, cannot have had hard work. I watched for veils as we drove through the streets, and had the pleasure of seeing several upon vulgar heads. And now, how do you all do? You, in particular, after the worry of yesterday and the day before. I hope Martha had a pleasant visit again, and that you and my mother could eat your beef pudding. Depend upon my thinking of the chimney sweeper as soon as I wake to-morrow. Places are secured at Drury Lane for Saturday, but so great is the rage for seeing Kean that only a 3rd and 4th row could be got. As it is a front box, however, I hope we shall do pretty well. Shylock, a good play for Fanny. She cannot be much affected, I think. Mrs. Perigord has just been here. She tells me that we owe her master for the silk dyeing. My poor old muslin has never been dyed yet. It has been promised to be done several times. What wicked people dyers are! They begin with dipping their own souls in scarlet sin. It is evening. We have drank tea, and I have torn through the 3rd volume of the heroine. I do not think it falls off. It is a delightful burlesque, particularly on the Radcliffe style. Henry is going on with Mansfield Park. He admires H. Crawford, I mean properly, as a clever, pleasant man. I tell you all the good I can, as I know how much you will enjoy it. We hear that Mr. Kean is more admired than ever. There are no good places to be got in Drury Lane for the next fortnight, but Henry means to secure some for Saturday fortnight, when you are reckoned upon. Give my love to little Cass. I hope she found my bed comfortable last night. I have seen nobody in London yet with such a long chin as Dr. Syntax, nor anybody quite so large as Gog Magolicus. Yours affectionately, J. Austen. End of Section 23.